The night began with a single, fragile moment, one that no camera caught, yet somehow held the power to change two lives forever. In a glittering ballroom filled with laughter that felt too loud and smiles that felt too practiced, a tired single father stood beside a woman on the verge of tears, offering nothing more than quiet words and a paper napkin. He had no idea that by the end of that night, the same woman would hold the power to rewrite his future. And before this story ends, you'll realize why one small act of kindness can echo louder than any speech ever given. If stories that remind you humanity still matters touch your heart, make sure you like this video and subscribe, because stories like this deserve to be shared. Ethan Walker hadn't wanted to attend the charity gala. The invitation lay on his kitchen counter for days, mocking him between school permission slips and overdue bills. It was a black tie event hosted by one of the city's largest corporations, and Ethan had only been invited because a parent from his daughter Lily's school had insisted. "You deserve one night out," she'd said with a smile that suggested she had no idea how heavy those words were. Ethan was a widower, a father, and a man constantly measuring his life in what he could and couldn't afford: time, energy, hope. But Lily had begged him to go, tying his bow tie with clumsy fingers and saying, "Maybe something good will happen, Daddy." He laughed then, not realizing how prophetic her words would be. The ballroom glowed with crystal chandeliers and polished marble floors. Men in tailored suits spoke of investments and mergers, women in elegant gowns laughed like nothing had ever broken their hearts. Ethan felt out of place in his rented tuxedo, his shoes pinching his feet, his smile feeling borrowed. He scanned the room, clutching a glass of water because alcohol and single parenthood rarely mixed well for him. He told himself he'd stay an hour, shake a few hands, and leave before the loneliness crept in too deeply. That was when he noticed her. She stood alone near the balcony doors, dressed in a midnight blue gown that seemed to absorb the light rather than reflect it. While everyone else mingled in clusters, she faced the city skyline, shoulders slightly hunched, as if trying to make herself smaller. Ethan recognized that posture immediately. It was the posture of someone holding themselves together with sheer will. The posture of grief, exhaustion, and quiet survival. He hesitated, reminding himself that people like her didn't need interruptions from men like him. But something tugged at him, an instinct honed by years of comforting a child who woke from nightmares. He approached slowly, careful not to startle her. "These things can be overwhelming," he said softly, nodding toward the crowded room. She turned, startled at first, then offered a weak smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Up close, Ethan noticed the faint redness around her eyes, the way her hands trembled as she set her clutch down. "That obvious?" she asked, her voice steady but fragile. He shrugged. "Only to someone who's felt the same way." That did it. Her composure cracked, just slightly, like ice under gentle pressure. Her name was Claire. That was all she offered at first. No last name, no title, no hint of the authority she carried every day. She spoke about feeling invisible in rooms full of people, about how noise could sometimes make loneliness louder. Ethan listened, truly listened, without trying to fix anything. He told her about Lily, about how losing his wife had taught him that sometimes the best comfort was simply being present. When Claire's eyes filled with tears, he handed her a napkin without a word, giving her space to breathe through it. Minutes turned into an hour. They talked about small things, favorite books, childhood dreams, the strange comfort of late-night drives. Claire laughed for the first time that evening, a genuine sound that surprised even her. She told him she felt like she was always performing, always expected to be strong. Ethan nodded. "Strength doesn't mean you never fall apart," he said. "It just means you get back up, especially when someone needs you to." Claire looked at him then, really looked at him, as if committing his face to memory. When the host announced it was time for the keynote speech, Claire stiffened. Panic flickered across her face. "I should go," she said quickly, stepping back. Ethan smiled gently. "Whatever happens," he said, "remember tonight mattered. You mattered." She swallowed hard, nodded, and disappeared into the crowd before he could ask anything more. Ethan watched her go, feeling oddly lighter and heavier at the same time. He left soon after, slipping into the night air and driving home to Lily, who was already asleep, her schoolbook open on her chest. He kissed her forehead and whispered, "Something good did happen." He meant the conversation, the reminder that connection was still possible. He didn't know it yet, but the real change was still coming. The next week hit him hard. A sudden rent increase. A plumbing issue. His car refusing to start on a rainy morning. Ethan juggled extra shifts, exhaustion settling deep into his bones. When an email arrived inviting him to an interview at Walker & Crown Industries, the very company that hosted the gala, he assumed it was a mistake. He almost deleted it. But Lily, reading over his shoulder, gasped. "Daddy, that's the big company." He applied with cautious hope, not expecting much. On the day of the interview, Ethan sat in a sleek office tower, hands folded tightly in his lap. When the door opened and the woman from the gala walked in, time seemed to freeze. Claire. Not just Claire. Claire Reynolds, CEO. The room felt suddenly smaller. Recognition flashed across her face, followed by a smile so warm it erased his panic. She dismissed the formalities, closed the door, and sat across from him. "I've been hoping you'd apply," she said. Claire explained that night had changed her. She had gone on stage afterward and delivered the most honest speech of her career, one about loneliness, empathy, and leadership with humanity. The board had noticed. More importantly, she had noticed something she'd lost, her ability to feel. Ethan's kindness, given without expectation, reminded her of the leader she wanted to be. She offered him a position he never imagined, one with flexibility, security, and purpose.